I was always the bad guy. I was never good. I confess that I was the first person to be sounding the goddamn alarm that it was bad!
Well, well, well. It's been a minute, hasn't it? It definitely has. I mean, I haven't uploaded on this channel in about 2 weeks now, but in YouTube terms, that's about 300 years. Now, again, I know I'm late to the topic because Dolan did a video on it and it absolutely juiced. But you know what? I'm going to give more detail than he ever could. And also, Markiplier responded and he didn't cover it in his video. So there, I have something now. So to recap on this drama, Twitter being the absolute cesspit that it is, again, I've said this many a time, it is not a brave statement to say anymore. It wasn't even a brave statement day one. But the one thing Twitter has always done is collectively bring everyone together to absolutely hate on the site. So the valiant knights of Twitter, or as I like to call them, Twitterlets, they basically found a connection between Markiplier and his past with AI. And they basically came to the conclusion that not only was he using AI, he was openly defending it. There was a clip being thrown around of Markiplier's podcast, which is called Distractable, where they talked about AI, but more importantly, talking to AI. They were asking certain questions, like, for example, one thing that's always brought up about AI is the massive quantities of water that is needed to kind of cool the servers and keep them running. And they basically had the question if almond farming also consumes more water.
Hey. I asked because, you know, that's ChatGPT's like voice talk feature.
Everyone's gonna hate you.
I love it.
What about the water?
Hey, what would consume more water? The data centers that power you and your ability to answer my questions, or almond growing in all of California?
All almond farming in California uses significantly more water than data centers. Almonds require around a gallon of water per almond, which adds up to billions of gallons annually. Data centers also consume water, especially for cooling, but the volume is much smaller compared to large-scale agriculture.
You're not just saying that because you're ChatGPT and you wouldn't want to be accused of stealing too much water, are you?
Nope.
There were also allegations as well that he was possibly using AI to create his thumbnails for his YouTube videos, you know, instead of paying an artist to do it. And I've always found that incredibly strange, how like bigger YouTubers always get targeted for things that other YouTubers are doing. Because I mean, a great example for me with AI thumbnails that comes to mind is the Rad Brad. I'm sure you know him. The guy is like an absolute YouTube legend. He basically was one of the first people to popularize the kind of Let's Play format. And even to this day, he's still doing Let's Plays. I salute you, sir. I salute you. Oh my God. But then if you go into the Rad Brad's thumbnails, for the past year or so, he's just been consistently using AI for pretty much every single thumbnail. So I never get the Twitter drone excuse there. It's like, what? Because the guy doesn't get as many views as Markiplier, he gets a pass for some reason. In no way, by the way, am I saying to attack the Rad Brad at all over this. I just find it really strange how people will make an exception for one group, but not for another. I mean, the only counter argument I could think of there, for example, is the Rad Brad gets usually around 100,000 views a video, which would translate into probably a couple $100, maybe $1,000 per video if he was lucky, or if the video was like, you know, 6 hours long or something. So in situations like that, if you're paying a thumbnail artist, you know, like hundreds of dollars to be able to get them to do a video thumbnail, it's not really too cost effective there. But anyway, back on Markiplier. So people pushed him about it. People ran to the Reddit to cry about it, and they got extra tilted because the moderators basically shut down any form of discussion talking about his stance on AI, which obviously is the singular worst thing you could ever do, because that will then get spun into, wait a minute, he's trying to silence his critics. Now, Markiplier did make an initial response. He did it on TikTok. I don't know why you do it on TikTok. You might as well post it on 9gag or something. But he basically goes into detail saying that he's on the same stance and side as the people who are actually criticizing him.
I am always happy to talk, which was why I'm going to talk about this on a live stream where I'm going to address each and every one of your concerns. I'm going to talk about it, and by the end of it, you're going to realize that we're on the same side. Or if you're watching this in the future, maybe I got my ass handed to me and I was kicked from here right off of YouTube forever and ever and ever. But I don't think that's going to be a case, because I have receipts. I have every Photoshop file for every thumbnail I've ever made. And you will see that I don't use Photoshop correctly, and it'll make people that actually know Photoshop cringe a lot. But I have it, because I have nothing to hide. And also, I've been really itching for a fight. You think I swam through 80,000 gallons of blood just to take a shortcut with AI? I got it in my eye. I almost went blind. Also, I know the environmental impacts. That's why I'm not on Twitter.
Basically saying that people are running with this kind of like constructed idea of what he believes in rather than what he actually believes in himself. And you'll notice that a lot with the internet. People like to make your opinion for you, or they seem to have grown up in like Dr. Xavier's gifted school in the X-Men, thinking they can like read your mind and know exactly what you're thinking and what your opinions are. And then at the end of the TikTok, he basically says he's been itching for a fight and he will never back down. Never back down, never what?
Never back down, never what? Never give up! That's right!
Now, one of the weakest claims I always thought that these people made was that his thumbnails could possibly be AI. Have you seen Markiplier's thumbnails? They give off the biggest 2016 energy I have ever seen in my life. Like, you could have someone that went into a coma when Markiplier first blew up. You know, when he had like the red hair and the pink mustache or whatever that bit was. They could wake up in 2025, you show them Markiplier's channel, and they will genuinely believe that it was the same year that they went into a coma. So, and I get to talk about the bit that Dolan didn't cover now. So, Markiplier, who loves a glass of milk, decided to do a live stream. And this is basically a way to talk about everything, address anything, you know, any questions that people had. Now, again, I've said multiple times, if there are like allegations against you or anything like that, doing a live stream. Dude, what's wrong with my fucking throat? What? Oh my God. Is this room just like coated in dust? It's like, I sound like fucking RFK Jr. or something. Oh, wait, I have a tapeworm in my throat. Pissing me off. Now, I've said in the past that doing a response on a live stream is one of the single worst things you can ever do, especially if there are serious allegations against you, because I feel like, you know, you're going to be speaking raw, emotionally, off the cuff. You won't really have, you know, the thoughts in your head clearly, as opposed to a pre-recorded video that can be edited. But at the same time, this was just such a slam dunk for Markiplier in the first place. I'm not surprised that he did it. So Markiplier begins the stream, not with a cry, not with a whimper, but a god level crash out, basically saying that he was the one to warn you. He warned you that this would happen and you didn't listen to him.
I confess that I was the first fucking person to be sounding the goddamn alarm that it was bad. I was the first fucking person to say this is honey all over again.
Like, going all the way back to 2022, Markiplier would be openly telling people, such as, you know, other podcast hosts, that AI was going to be a really, really big problem. And then he also mentions as well that the other hosts basically laughed at him, being like, AI? A who? What's the problem with AI, brother? Define brother.
Define who?
And even Mark claimed at one point that they could have the entire podcast be fully AI generated in the future, which it totally could be, like 3 years later.
I was trying to warn Bob and Wade way the fuck back in time, the danger of it, how it was going to be a problem. This was like way back in like 2022. I was telling them that there was going to be a time when someone could punch in a prompt into a AI and it was going to be able to generate an entire podcast of us. And they laughed. And they laughed. And they laughed at me. And they laughed at me. They all laughed at me.
Now, even though the crash out was holy, it was great. It was pretty much deserved. And it really goes to show, like, the way the internet works right now, you could be the most wholesome, respected creator. It doesn't matter. Someone is going to come for you eventually. And if anything, it seems that this stream was basically like a massive stress reliever for him. The way he's yelling about AI, he sounds like he's almost been like vindicated for his thoughts. Wait a minute. We're like 10 minutes into a pyrocynical video and he hasn't made a Breaking Bad reference. This is like the time when Chuck McGill was in the courtroom saying he's not crazy and no one would believe him.
I am not crazy.
I was trying to warn Bob and Wade.
You think this is something? You think this is bad? This chicanery?
And they laughed. And they laughed. And they laughed at me. And they laughed at me.
Now, Mark also discusses what people have basically been twisting about him in support of AI. Because again, the way the internet works, if you support something in one small way, it's over for you, completely over. Your career's over. But he does talk about certain positive implications, like, for example, medical use.
And I will say, I can't promise at any point I was not excited about it, because as a technological development, there is a reason for some people to be excited about this. And it's not for the reasons that you might think. I'm not shouting that, yes, it's great that it takes up so much power. No, there are serious medical advances and there are serious legitimate uses to this technology and the research that is being done to it.
But then he also goes on to say that he believes that a lot of fears that people have about AI are just completely justified. For instance, like private companies, they're throwing so much money at this kind of like arms race right now for AI development to have the best model that governments and regulations, they can't keep up.
However, right now, the main problem that we face is that every single company in existence and the governments thereof of the countries that those companies are in are all throwing billions and billions of dollars and man hours into building these AIs. That kind of laws and regulations go out the window.
And there's a lot of sketchy things around it as well. Like they can't really cite their sources because, as we know, AI only exists because it basically trains itself off pre-existing things. And then also people's livelihoods being threatened, artists, writers. And unfortunately, a lot of people or companies would rather save money by using AI as opposed to like paying these people.
The actual reaction that people are having to this is a natural cause of this threat to their livelihood, to their ability as an artist, to everything that they're doing. And that is incredibly valid. And there are reasons to be critical of it in the way that it currently is. That doesn't mean that it's entirely, as a concept, a problem, but that does mean that the way that it is being used with no safeguards and no guardrails in general is absolutely a problem.
You know, the worst thing is about AI right now as well is, you know, I've said this before. We used to make jokes that, oh, lol, my parents or like the boomers, they don't get AI. Like, look, Jesus with an AK, they got fooled. But now it's getting so convincing that it is genuinely like it's indistinguishable in some areas. You may have noticed recently I've picked up a thumbnail artist for some of my live streams. They do an insane job. I, as like a little bit of a troll, shared in a friend's group chat that that image was completely AI generated by me. Why do I bother paying Twitter artists? And they fucking believed it. They genuinely believed it. Now, with the main claim of Markiplier and his support of AI basically being next to non-existent, he goes on to the main allegations. Like, for example, the first one he talked about was basically his use of AI in his thumbnails. Now, back in 2022, when Midjourney was just being released, Mark and many others actually found this really interesting as there wasn't really anything on the market quite like it. Now, this is going back to 2022, so you might as well be saying it was like, you know, 1899, like Red Dead Redemption or something. But back then, the use of AI image generation, there was nowhere near as much of a debate around it as there is now, mostly because back then, image generation, it was just like Will Smith eating spaghetti gif. And because it was so laughably bad at the time, no one had the idea in their head that this could actually be a threat, a danger, and replace people's livelihoods and jobs. Now, Markiplier did use AI back then. This was to generate a scary face for his simulacra. Sigma Nuts. Is that a real game? What is that? And he didn't really think again about the fact that he used AI until obviously this drama resurfaced. But thankfully, he isn't actually doubling down with this and said that after the stream, he was going to change the thumbnails to not be using AI.
As a new technology perspective, it was interesting. People are very valid to say this. There is one thumbnail in particular that I can say had something from there, which is Simulacra 2, I believe. So it was still composited into other things, but I was like, oh, it's good at making nightmare faces, so maybe I'll make a nightmare faces. And I totally acknowledge I haven't even thought about that until this all came up. So I'm perfectly happy to go back, change that, get rid of the thumbnail. In fact, I'll do that after this stream.
And that's actually something that he's followed through on. Like, if you look at his thumbnails, he has genuinely changed them now. Now, again, if he was doing this recently and denying it, then yeah, like that sucks. But like, again, this is going back 3 years ago. People's stances on AI, even though they like to think it's as aggressive as it is now, it was nowhere near as bad. I'm not saying people were not fear-mongering back then when AI was first actually going into the mainstream, but there was nowhere near as much of a discussion about it as there is now. And it's almost like that's being retroactively used to attack Markiplier. Now, Markiplier does talk about other instances where he did use AI as well, but this actually wasn't of his own choice. It's not like he had, you know, like Mark Zuckerberg holding a gun to him, like, you gotta change the thumbnail, bro. But it's because if you look up stock images of things online now, AI has actually poisoned the entire well. If you type in, like, I don't know, picture of a bird or something like that, there is a high chance that, like, at least in the first, like, 30 results, you will find some kind of AI generated image that isn't even real. And most YouTubers do tend to use stock photos because they are copyright free. And again, like that point that I made earlier, it's getting a little bit scary at the minute because it's kind of hard to tell what is AI and what isn't. I mean, to most people, you can definitely tell. But I don't know, sometimes you got to do like a double check, a triple check. I'm not saying like, you know, you look up, I don't know, like picture of a flamingo and then it's just Will Smith eating the spaghetti. Like the AI is definitely getting a little bit smarter than that. And because it's a stock image, you might actually think it's legitimate and not just AI slop. This also ties into another claim that people made against Mark supporting AI. In an episode of the podcast, Mark basically shows the other co-hosts AI generated images and asks them which one is which. This was done on purpose, you know, to kind of show, guys, AI is a little bit scary. It's very easy to trick people now.
One of the episodes of Distractable that people often talk about as being an example of me supporting AI, which is Caker AI, right? I presented to Bob and Wade images that were AI generated and images that were stock photos. And I asked them to tell which was which. And I think what was lost on people is that was meant to scare them. That was meant to scare the audience. That was meant to translate just how bad this could be because of the danger of it, because of how hard it would start to be to differentiate.
But despite that, people then ran with the narrative of, oh, no, he's not trying to show how scary it is. He's trying to show how good it is. He's glazing AI, guys. But all he said he was trying to do was to keep his audience informed and talking about it, not actually promoting it.
Anytime that I do talk about it, it's to talk about the dangers of it or how scary it is or how bad it is or how it's misunderstood. And that's not misunderstood to be like, oh, this is such a good thing. You just need to get used to it. No, if people have actually been listening to what I was talking about.
You know those people that have like in their Twitter bio, like, you know, retweets don't mean endorsements, that kind of thing? That's kind of the reason why they have to put that in their bio, even though no one does that anymore except like actual boomers. I will always be amazed how there'll be people that just feel absolute vitriol and outrage over the smallest things. It's almost like they're having an argument in their own head and losing. It's like the people that reach out to you and say, why are you following this person? They're kind of a bad person. Huge plot twist here. When you follow someone, that does not instantly mean that you like them and you support everything that they do. If anything, you might absolutely dislike them and you're just lurking their account or following them because they're such a crash out. Like the time it took for you to go on my profile, click who I followed, scroll down, find something you didn't agree with to make an argument out of it. You could have like, I don't know, you could have won like a whole game of Fortnite or something in that time. Again, I think it's the case where a lot of people just want to get angry because they're just very bored and they've got nothing better to do. And, you know, again, if you're angry at something, wait a minute, I have a goal now. My life has purpose now. I have meaning now. But in this case with Markiplier, like it just sucks. I mean, here's a good example. People were using this against him as well. Like he was showing AI jokes, but he was doing that because they were so terribly bad. They actually became funny.
Oh my God. Wait, I just typed in knock knock, but also I put who's there. So it's like knock knock, who's there? Ghosts, I would tell them. There's no one here. Knock knock. Nope, just me. Knock knock. I just wanted to see if you were still out there. As the nights grew colder and the moon was swallowed by clouds, I started sitting on the swing just inside the back door. I mean, whoa, that is a great knock knock joke.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's
I'm gonna post this in the Discord so it's at least like remembered. Like,
yeah, holy. You just walk up to someone like, hey, you want to hear a joke? All right.
It's almost like you got this scale of funny, like you've got not funny and then you got funny. And then if the not funny becomes so not funny, it jumps off the scale and it goes back to being funny. You'd get it, right? It's like think of like a Oppenheimer-Einstein equation.
2, the funniest joke in the world came out in 2022, right? And that was with something called Talk to Transformer. That video is unabashedly funny because of how bad it was. The language model that was being used for Talk to Transformer is not like the direct relation to ChatGPT, but it is one of the precursors using the same kind of concepts. And it was terrible, obviously. It made that knock knock joke. That episode is funny. And me saying that isn't me going, yes, language, yeah, AI, woo. Yeah, it is. It's funny. It's because at the time it was so bad that you could make fun of it, right? Now it's so good that it's scary.
Mark does also address the choice that the moderators made on his subreddit to basically silence any kind of discourse or discussion about his stance on AI. Because again, like I said earlier, people kind of turn this around as they're like, you come to me and you talk to me about AI discourse on the eve of my daughter's transition. Now, people said that they were silenced, but Markiplier says that the conversations were just mean-spirited and vitriolic.
I get why people are reactionary about it, because on the subreddit, it was banned. The discussion of it was banned. And that was not my decision, but I still defend the mod's decision to do that, because for people that are wondering if the mods getting death threats was a thing, it was a thing. It still is a thing. And part of that is the reason why they implemented the rule in the first place, is because the discussion became incredibly vitriolic.
And he even goes on to say that some of the mods were actually getting death threats over this as well. All I'm saying is, if Markiplier had to spend 24 hours on the Parasitical subreddit, he'd kill himself. Now, the next accusation that Mark goes over is him talking to ChatGPT in an Ethan Nestor video. This was, again, to show people how dumb the AI model could be.
Ethan's video. Some people bring that up. Absolutely. I talked to ChatGPT in that video itself. It was mostly as a bit to showcase how dumb it could be and how funny it could be. But I understand, and I think I started to really understand where people were coming from when even just the mentioning of it or the placing it in a video could become something that people were offended by. I don't not acknowledge that. I fully acknowledge that. But also, I'm a goddamn troll. People have this misconception that I'm kind of nice. And so when there's something that pisses people off, I apologize, but also part of me just really enjoys kind of making people mad.
Yeah, again, the internet's reaction to this was just incredibly sour. I'm guessing mostly because the people that used ChatGPT, they couldn't afford the actual paid model and they ran out of prompts for the day, so they got very angry at him for having the pro version. Now, one really interesting point Markiplier brings up here is, even though AI is everywhere right now, he actually believes that people will get bored of it because it can only do so much, and at the same time, you're just typing prompts into a machine. Like you know, it's like, you know, you as a 7-year-old Christmas Day, you get that Nintendo Switch 2. What the f you do that for? You suck. But the point is, you get this amazing console or this gift, and then it's great. But then over time, you get kind of bored of it, and then, you know, you just stop. You stop using it. That is, unless you live in the UK and own a PS5, because you just play FIFA and Warzone all day. Well, you can't do that anymore, can you? Because now there's the age verification. Upload a picture of your face to get the Nicki Minaj skin in Warzone where she's twerking.
The people that are using generative AI to make art and bragging about it and talking about it all the time, I think that what you're going to find, and I might be wrong about this, I've been wrong about things before, but I think what you're going to find is they are going to get bored of it because they don't actually like what it is about making art. Because making art is about the pursuit of getting better. It's about self-improvement. It's about seeing your own craft get better. And it's already disheartening for people. Even a few years before generative AI come out, you see the internet now, and everyone can see everything that everyone else has made. And that is disheartening for people. And many artists nowadays can relate to that. But at the same time, I truly believe, and because this is what I live every day of my life, I truly believe that it is about the finished product. I'm not going to say that it's not, but it is about the journey to learn more, to be able to finish that product.
I mean, AI is incredibly widely used now. Yeah, definitely. But over time, he believes that this excitement and this joy of having this new toy, it's going to kind of fade away. Meanwhile, artists will still be making art because that is something that brings people joy. Why have we not cut to the next scene yet? Why's the camera just like waiting on me? I mean, I definitely agree. Oh my God. I mean, I've seen people use AI art for like various examples, you know, like getting ideas for comics, posters, room ideas, NSFW commissions. I've seen a lot of those. I don't know where I was going with this point. I've just self-reported again, man. God damn it. But yeah, I think the point is at the minute, it's always better if you have the money to do so, to reach out to an actual talented human, as opposed to ChatGPT, can you use DALL-E to generate me big chungus, please? Now, one of the points that really hit close to home for Mark here was people were accusing him of using AI for his Iron Lung film. And this claim had like nothing. It was zero. I wouldn't even be surprised if he just lied and made this up, because like, no, then again, it is Twitter. It was probably some moron with like 2 likes or something and Mark just saw red. But again, people just ran with this claim. He used AI. What, in the film that he hasn't even released like a trailer for yet? Apart from him rising out of blood? Okay, yeah, no, that was AI. No, the entire script's AI. And then you know what they'll do? This sun is getting in my eyes so much. And then what they'll probably do as well is go and accuse David Szymanski that made Iron Lung and be like, oh, did you use AI for that game? I don't know. The graphics look like PS1 slop. That could be AI. Again, it really does show to me there are so many unhappy people on the internet, and they just want an argument to feel something. It got so bad on this stream that he was actually ready to like spoil parts of the film just to prove people wrong.
I want to say, if people were more up in this, people are going to be up in arms about it, but if people were more up in arms and saying that I was using AI in Iron Lung, I was ready to come with behind the scenes of all the painstaking, beautiful art that both the set designers and Anna in the art department and the makeup and all the incredible practical effects that were done in the movie.
Also going into the detail that, you know, each piece of the art, the set design, or any artistic part of the movie was done by real people. And then the rest of the stream, after Mark kind of, you know, he did some like Buddhist breathing exercises. He brought himself back down. He's okay now. He basically just spent the rest of the stream talking about AI questions rather than, you know, talking about the main controversies that he's found himself in, because it really does seem to me that he seems very educated and knowledgeable on the subject. Again, you've got 2 groups of people that are knowledgeable on AI, the Markipliers and the Kwebbelkops. I'd like to confirm, by the way, I just checked up on my boy Kwebbelkop. No, okay, no, it just doesn't want to show anything. Okay, there we go. Right, let me try that again. What is that? No. Dude, I haven't used this PC in 3 months. Stop with the Oscars, man. Stop it. I've got like 20 Oscar images just preloaded. Anyway, the point is, I checked on my boy Kwebbelkop. He's still doing AI slop, so it might be over. Now, there is one thing that Markiplier talks about towards the end that's really interesting, and not a lot of people have brought this up. His friend Mandy is very educated in her background surrounding AI, to the point that she even has a PhD, and she conducted this like huge study and basically found out that the way that AI is conducted is completely inefficient.
The current way that language models and like machine learning models work today is based on linear regression, right? I don't fully understand what that means, but it's based on linear regression. Gaussian process uses Gaussian distribution, which is like a random distribution type, to more efficiently find the lowest thingamabob for the thingamabob, right? Absolutely, and I'm putting words in her mouth, absolutely hates how current AI is, because people, and it's for the reason that I don't like it a lot either, is because it is not what it says it is. It is computationally inefficient. It is an unknowable black box. It needs an infinite void of data. It can't cite its sources. It can't cite its, it doesn't know where its knowledge come from. And those are the things that are a problem.
So Mark describes it, which is really interesting, as a black box, or like Pandora's box. Dude, if I was a vampire, I'd be dead right now. I'm just going to speak to you like this until the sun goes down. So it looks like I'm being taken up into heaven. So basically, he mentions this kind of black box theory that all these companies are throwing so much money at AI, but they don't actually understand how it works. They just want money. And it's just an arms race at the minute. This is why every single company, despite them making billions, are so incredibly insecure of each other. TikTok, we had Vine. They didn't know how to monetize it. It died. Then we have Musical.ly. I don't know what happened to that. But anyway, then we got TikTok. That took off. #1 app in the world. Instagram, itself started Reels. YouTube itself started making shorts that no one watches. I'm sorry, bro, if you watch YouTube shorts, you're cooked. Instagram Reels, that's kind of funny. TikTok, less funny, still kind of funny. YouTube shorts is just like, it's just clips of films that have been re-uploaded that have like 300,000 likes that are probably from like bots or Russians. Now, she believes it's so poorly constructed. I gotta get out this sun. I gotta get out this sun. It's burning my retinas, man. I'm doing like that. You know that Joshua Block, that Mr. Bass guy, how he's just like sun gazing the entire time like a degenerate? Is that what it's like? Great stuff, man. Now I can't see anything. But again, it's so poorly constructed that she left her job to start a non-profit organization called Real Good AI in the hopes to make AI actually functional. Because again, it's bad at the minute. You know why it's bad? Because the companies, they don't give a about any good use for it. They just want money. But it can have benefits if it's used correctly. And Mark has actually been funding her endeavor to try and, you know, reform how AI bots work.
I would like to introduce you to a non-profit organization known as Real Good AI, founded by Mandy, realgoodai.org. And this is a fantastic opportunity to finally talk about this, where you will find them and their mission to make better AI, because that's what I believe in, and that's what I put my money where my mouth is. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just very passionate about this. And this is where it gets on my nerves when people are saying, like, stupid, what's going on? So here's their objectives, right?
You can actually go to the website as well and see like what Real Good AI is. It basically gives this completely radically different perspective on what AI can actually be used for. Because again, at the minute, if you watch me, you're a gamer. So what's your opinion on AI? It steals artists' jobs. It steals writers' jobs. It can write your paper for uni, maybe, if you change it enough. That's it. That's all the use we've got for it at the minute. What they're trying to do with this Real Good AI is like expand the scope of it, but most importantly, while keeping ethical and moral boundaries. Because again, you know, you've got certain platforms like, let's say, ChatGPT. You can't have any NSFW on there. You think that's for your safety? For like ethical or moral constraints? No, it's not. It's because they know for a fact within a week it would become a Guna bot. And also the fact as well, they're probably panicked because you remember what happened to Tay AI, the Microsoft AI on Twitter? They basically got like into saying how much they love. So with this Really Good AI, they also talk about that they don't actually want to use image generation, since the way that at the minute, pretty much all AI sources images to generate for you is just really unethical. It's stolen from somewhere. You know, why do you think whenever there's like audits on these AI companies, where'd you get the sources for your image generation? Oh, shucks, I don't know. I just found it, I guess. And again, that's already available to you. You can get art from artists. They just want a way to make running an AI be not such a burden for the environment. And most of all, which is like, again, like the cope I've been using the entire video, the one good use of AI that we can actually think of at the minute is its use in science. I'm sure everyone with a Reddit account got out their chair to applaud right then. But this would be for medicine or other like STEM related fields while, you know, still being safe. They aren't against AI, but more importantly, how it's being used currently. Now, I know that there will instantly be a counter argument made saying how, well, you know, you're talking about it being good for science. That's going to replace jobs. People are going to be kicked out their job. But I feel like, well, I'm hoping that in the use of AI that they're talking about, it will be used to support jobs, not actually replace them. You know, not doing the things that humans could do but better, but doing the things that humans could not do in 500 years. But yeah, overall, I feel bad for Markiplier. This is just, again, another case of people that despise themselves so much that they wake up in the morning and they think, you know what? Today, we do a little bit of hating. But at the same time as well, I'm actually happy that this happened because if anything, it actually, I mean, the haters accidentally gave Markiplier a platform to talk about AI more in depth and also promote a, hopefully, beneficial program surrounding it. But yeah, I thought you guys should know. We're back. We're so back. Sorry, I took a bit of a break. It took me ages to get the PC set up because the PC was the only thing that I bought with me and it was absolutely totaled. I had to get most of the parts replaced in it. Apparently, someone opened the PC to check for drugs and unplugged like all the CPU sockets and stuff and just left it in a complete mess. I don't know about you. I don't look like much of a drug dealer. Anyways, But then on top of that as well, it was, you know, buying all the monitors, the stream setup, everything. But now, hopefully, we should be good. We should be back to daily. The only thing I'm worried about now is I'm on the other side of the planet. So I basically have to start streaming at like 6 in the morning or it's over. I might be streaming tomorrow, by the way. But again, what does tomorrow mean for you? Maybe I've already streamed before this video goes out. Dude, I hate time zones so much.